I'm not a fan of Cuomo one way or the other, but if it's going to be between a bad Democrat and a communist, I'm going to pick the bad Democrat all the time, to be honest with you.
Well, someone who is not so keen on helping Mamdani, but kind of had to because Mamdani is the nominee for his party, is Hakeem Jeffries. Took Hakeem Jeffries, who is the House Minority Leader, Democrat, a long time to endorse Zohran Mamdani. He delayed. He kept saying, we're having conversations, we're talking. Finally, on the eve of early voting, he finally came around and gave a very tepid endorsement. But as we can see from this clip, that endorsement only goes so far.
Do you see Mamdani as the future of the Democratic Party?
No, I think the future of the Democratic Party is going to fall, as far as we're concerned, relative to the House Democratic Caucus and members who are doing a great work all across the country as it relates to our need to both take back control of the House, but in...
Okay, if I give some communications feedback here, putting aside the content of the message, because, I mean, obviously, Hakeem Jeffries is uncomfortable saying that a young, charismatic, progressive who centers working people, talks about affordability, and also believes that Palestinians are equal human beings. He can't have that being the future of his party. Okay, that's right. That's obvious if you're a corporate Democrat, but just the messaging he uses, he's so like the contrast between Zohran Mamdani, who's so direct, so charismatic, you know exactly what he's talking about when he's speaking, and Hakeem Jeffries, who uses the word like relative and relates twice in this mealy-mouthed answer. The future is relative to the House Democrat. What does that even mean? And then as it relates to, like, come on, man. Like, if I was communications advisor, I'm tearing my hair out.
Yeah, seriously, yeah. I mean, maybe that's why he keeps it short, so he's not tempted to when he watches clips of himself back. This is
doing so, make sure that we're communicating to the American people like, we understand you deserve better.
You're not communicating very well, sir, because you're hard to follow. You're extremely tepid in your language. It's like, it's worse than Obama. Obama would speak really slowly because every word from Obama was calculated to like sound lofty, but really say absolutely nothing.
Right.
And just defend the status quo. But Hakeem Jeffries is even more, he's just even more muddled.
Yeah. I mean, Obama's also an engaging speaker.
Yeah.
This guy puts you to sleep big time. Yeah. I mean, I think he's doing, honestly, perhaps Zohran a favor. If I'm Zohran Mamdani, I don't want a ringing endorsement from this guy. This snooze fest, this centrist snooze fest.
Yeah, I would go ahead and call Hakeem Jeffries obtuse. I think that's the word for him. Very obtuse. Yeah. Just so dull.
Yeah.
So anyway.
He'd be good to listen to, like, when you're trying to fall asleep. Yes. You know, like, instead of like a guided meditation or something, you just put him on loop. Yeah.
In the country that you have received.
All right. Well, an inspiring vision of the future.
Yeah, where he's
Jeffries.
Where he's like totally, by the way, refusing to make progressivism a part of the Democratic Party, right? He's very excited to say that this is not the future of the Democratic Party. And I like the idea that he's in touch with voters.
All right. Well, someone else who has thoughts on the future of the Democratic Party and Zohran Mamdani's place in it, or non-place in it, is Democratic Senator John Fetterman.
Elections on Tuesday, obviously coast to coast in New Jersey and Virginia and California. There's a referendum on redistricting. In New York City, polls show that the Democratic nominee Zohran Mamdani is in the lead for the mayor's race. You've previously dismissed him as, quote, not even a Democrat, and it is true he's a Democratic socialist. Do you think it would be a mistake for New Yorkers?
Look at Jake Tapper, such a teacher's pet. It's true. He's a Democratic socialist. Okay, well, he is a registered Democrat because that's whose party he is leading as the nominee for mayor.
Yes.
Jake.
So and let's watch. I wonder if Jake is going to ask a leading question at all. We have to back this up a little bit.
Do you think it would be a mistake for New Yorkers to elect him as mayor? Would you vote for Cuomo if you were a New Yorker, or Sliwa?
No, that's going to be New York's voice. Socialism is not the future of my party. And if that's going to be their future, that's really up to New York City to decide those things.
By the way, I have to mention something. When he says my party, I'm not sure if he's allowed to call it my party, because guess who approves of Fetterman more, Republicans or Democrats?
Well, I would be shocked if it were not Republicans, because Fetterman opposes so many policies that most Democrats reject, namely support for genocide in Palestine. He's a fanatic supporter of Israel, and most Democrats aren't.
Right, yeah. So Democrats support for him 54 to 33 disapprove, and Republicans 62 to 21 approve. So,
well, I guess that's the future of the Democratic Party, is just trying to appeal to Republicans,
right, exactly.
ignoring actually Democratic voters. That's the way the Democratic Party leadership is heading. Notice how Chuck Schumer can't even bring himself to endorse Zohran Mamdani. Chuck Schumer, of course, who represents New York, can't even endorse the mayor, the Democratic candidate to be mayor of New York City. The last clip I saw of him, he hasn't been making very many media appearances, because I think he wants to avoid this issue of Zohran. But he was asked, like, are you gonna endorse Zohran? He just walked away. He wouldn't answer.
Yeah, pathetic. All right.
We all know how socialism works out. Ask anybody that's lived under those kinds of systems all across the globe.
Well, actually, if you ask people who live in countries that are like mixed socialist capitalists, which is what we would have, obviously, with someone like Zohran, they're pretty happy. Spain, Norway, Sweden, Denmark, good quality of life.
Yeah, but then you have socialist countries, or quasi-socialist countries, where there has been a lot of suffering. But if you look at the reason why, you look at Cuba or Venezuela, right, where they've tried to, especially like Venezuela, this idea that Venezuela is socialist is really stupid. Like, you go there and there's a lot of capitalism. The wealthy are still very wealthy. They still own their, fancy stores. But they've tried some versions of state socialism. But the problem there is, once you do that, you get hit with crippling sanctions from the U.S. that destroy your economy, right, and make life impossible, which is always the part that is left out when you talk about, life under socialism.
Yeah, true.
But for me, as a Democrat, as a committed Democrat, I might disagree in some areas, much like shutting down our government or other areas now. But for me, as a committed Democrat, I'm going to push back and announce people that this is wrong. And now we are hurting the very people that we fight for. And now we're getting nothing for them if we continue to keep our government shut down.
Well, another thing I want to point out, since he's claiming to be the voice of Democrats, this is very interesting. So Democrats view socialism, 66% of Democrats view socialism favorably, compared to 42% viewing capitalism favorably, which is kind of insane, according to a Gallup poll published in September. So he's just showing himself as like less and less in touch.
And again, Mamdani is not going to be doing really anything remotely socialist. I mean, no matter what his personal views, he's the mayor of the center of Wall Street, of sort of global, a center of global finance. There's only so much he can do. What he wants to do is provide free buses, make living more affordable, and also have one grocery store in every borough that's like government subsidized, so people can afford food.
Right.
You want to call that socialism? Okay. I think it's just like basic democracy. And that's what people like John Fetterman and Jake Tapper are afraid of, because they recognize that Zohran Mamdani's policies appeal to working people and immigrant communities and others that have been kept out of politics. They're included in Zohran Mamdani's movement. And that's what alarms these people the most.
And Palestinians are included as human beings, which Fetterman and Tapper really hate.
Imagine that.
Yeah.
Imagine that.
By the way, I said that it was kind of insane that socialism's favorability rankings are so high. And Ray Bob writes, wait, why can't I highlight this? This is weird. He wrote, it's extremely sane. Now, that's true. It's extremely sane here. Whoops. But when I say it's insane, I mean that given how much propaganda there is against socialism from media and political elites, it's a sign. I think it's a great thing. I agree. I'm more favorable. Obviously, I have higher favorability of socialism than capitalism. I just mean it's a great thing, but it is shocking to me, and it shows, I guess, how much capitalism is failing. But well, point taken, Ray Bob. Okay.
Okay, let's hear from the man himself, Zohran Mamdani. He's been on just a tear. He's all over the city. He's going to clubs like late night to, rally in front of dancers.
Yeah.
He's meeting with like the bodega union. He's going to LaGuardia in a really moving scene, actually, to meet up with taxi drivers with whom he went on strike a few years ago over the horrible conditions that they face. So but here he is in an interview with Ali Velshi of MSNBC.
Excellence and efficiency at the heart of a public sector that we care deeply about.
We're talking about your social media reach, the fact that you do a lot of social media, you get out there, you've got a particularly young audience, the type of audience who may not be watching us right now. But there's a lot of money going into traditional media.
That was kind of funny. He just threw MSNBC under the bus, but I mean, he's being right? He goes, you have a young audience, the kind of audience that may not be watching us now. Honest.
In this race. The most prominent of the groups that are raising money for this is a group called Fix the City. It's raised more than $35 million. Two others have raised $2.5 million and $1.5 million, respectively. Some of the donors include Michael Bloomberg. He's given almost $10 million since before the primary. Members of the Lauder family, the hedge fund executive Bill Ackman, the hotel and casino magnate Steve Wynn. Many of these groups are supporting Andrew.
Kenny, guess what? I guess what all these individuals, these lovely individuals, share, what trait they share. They're all of the Jewish faith. So, aren't you proud to be Jewish today? Look at the civic.
Please tell me one of them is a Christian Zionist, please.
Look at the civic enthusiasm that all these Jewish families have for their city. The city that we call home, to the point where they're willing to spend millions of dollars trying to oust the most popular candidate, and install Cuomo instead. And I wonder what unites all of them. Could it be maybe, look, it's not just about Palestine. Yes, of course, like Bill Ackman especially is a avowed Jewish supremacist and supporter of Israel. But also, these people are also just, people who are used to ripping off average people, making a lot of money. And Zohran Mamdani's movement represents a real threat to that. He wants to bring actual democracy to the city. He wants to bring affordability to people who are being pushed out. And if you're a kleptocrat, that's a huge threat. So look all that money they're spending to get to defeat him. Yeah.
It's I'm really happy that when he wins, I'll be so happy. It'll be a win-win because not only will he have won, but these people will have spent money for nothing. I only wish they were it would have more of an impact on their pocketbooks. Of course it won't.
Cuomo. How do you explain that to New York voters? How do you what connections do you draw between the donors and Cuomo's campaign?
I think Bill Ackman may be under the misapprehension that for every strongly worded tweet he sends out, he has to donate another $100,000 to Andrew Cuomo's super PAC. I think largely what you see with these kinds of donors and these kinds of donations is a desire to keep a system that has been rigged to benefit the very few in this city at the expense of the very many. And I understand why they would be concerned at the prospect of Andrew Cuomo losing this race, because it's not just him as an individual, it's also his style of politics where access and influence can be bought. And I'm proud to be here sitting in front of you as the Democratic nominee, not by virtue of the donations we've received, though we did max out the public matching funds here in New York City, but by virtue of the volunteer team that we have built, of now more than 100,000 volunteers who today are on the precipice of breaking a New York State record for most doors knocked in a 24-hour period. And that's what this campaign really is about. It's about bringing democracy back.
Oh, wait, let me say that last line. Sorry.
Let's talk about that most doors knocked. You're looking to break 200,000, not break. You don't want to break the doors. You want to knock on 200,000 doors today and break a record. Talk to me about this, because you have tens of thousands of volunteers. You have more volunteers than many people have voters.
Anyway, he said making democracy work, which I think is a great for everyone. And that's exactly what he is trying to do. And I think that that's a great response to it. You can decide if you want democracy to be something that exists in New York City or not exists. And the truth is that people like Jeffries don't want to have democracy for working people. And they want, an exclusive cabal of people to be controlling everything. So I think that, I think he did a good job in responding to this. He didn't obviously bring up the Palestine issue, but it's probably because he doesn't want to have to bring that up again and again. And that is, of course, as you pointed out, Aaron, one of the main reasons that they are spending so much money trying to sink his campaign.
And it's not as if he's made Palestine a big thing in his campaign. The problem is the Zios in Israel, they've made Palestine a potential issue because they presided over a genocide. And that has just absolutely outraged anybody with a conscience.
Yeah.
And voting for Zohran Mamdani is one way of rejecting that. And it's sort of made it a litmus test for people who just can't support a candidate who supports genocide. So it's like they've isolated themselves. And Zohran Mamdani, it's not as if like Palestine was a big part of his campaign, but just because he has the position he has that Palestinians are equal human beings, he's benefited from that backlash to genocide and the lengths that Israel supporters go to silence people who oppose genocide. The censorship, the crackdowns, the smearing. He represents the countervailing force to that, whether he even wants to or not. And they can't stop that no matter how much they try to smear him.
Yeah. Unstoppable. Unstoppable, Zoe.
All right. Well, on that note, Zohran Mamdani was asked by MSNBC about the, smears of him, of anti-Semitism, blah, blah, blah. I personally don't even like giving any oxygen because it's so stupid, but whatever. It's out there. So let's hear his response.
Each other, and he's out there as a surrogate for you. Let's talk about the continued allegations of anti-Semitism against you. What do you say to a Jewish New York voter who's watching this right now, who has heard through social media or various articles or ads that you're anti-Semitic?
I'd say take out the diapers. That's what I'd say. Stop being a complete baby.
Yeah.
At this point, if you're still under the illusion, the delusion that Zohran Mamdani is anti-Semitic and blah, just honestly, then you're a baby. Then you're a complete
and
baby.
An idiot. Yeah.
Yeah. And honestly, we have no time for you.